I found the ultrasound photo the same day my daughter brought home her essay. 50,000 people were sharing it online, praising the senator who got my wife pregnant. My name is Thomas Bradford. I teach AP History at Richmond Academy in Virginia. October 2025, 5 weeks before the gubernatorial election that would change everything. That Tuesday morning, I was teaching my second period class about character and leadership. The Constitution poster behind my desk had been there for 12 years. Parchment-style lamination, corners curled from age, "We the people" across the top in that fancy script. I'd looked at it 1,000 times. That morning, it felt different, like it was watching me. Democracy requires leaders whose private character matches their public promises, I told my students. 28 teenagers looking back at me, some taking notes, most pretending to. When we elect someone, we're not just choosing policies, we're choosing who represents our values. A hand went up. Sarah Chen, front row, always engaged. "Mr. Bradford, how do we know if a leader's character is real or just performance?" I opened my mouth to answer. Through the classroom door's window, I saw Grace in the hallway, my daughter, 14 years old, student council member, carrying a cardboard box. She was wearing one of those campaign buttons, red, white, and blue, metal, about 2 inches across. "Warren for governor," her mother's boss. "We look at consistency," I said, turning back to Sarah. "Does their private life reflect what they preach publicly? Do they keep promises when no one's watching?" Grace was distributing voter guides from the box, glossy tri-fold brochures. I'd seen dozens of them at home. Warren's family photo on the cover, his wife Diane, their 2 kids, all smiling. The headline, "Family Values, Real Leadership." I didn't know it yet, but that headline would become the cruelest joke of my life. "My wife Liz is communications director for Senator Marcus Warren's campaign," I continued, trying to focus. "She works 80-hour weeks right now. The election is 5 weeks away. And yesterday, Grace here," I nodded toward the hallway, "wrote an essay about political leadership that's gone viral, 50,000 shares on social media." The class perked up. Viral was their language. Grace wrote about how Senator Warren exemplifies the kind of leadership I teach about in this classroom, about how family values aren't just campaign slogans, they're lived commitments. I believed it when I said it. I believed my daughter's idealism was justified. I believed my wife when she said she was working late strategy sessions. I believed the campaign buttons Grace pinned to my jacket meant something real. That evening, everything changed. Grace had a permission slip for the debate team trip. I knew Liz kept spare copies in her campaign bag, the one she carried everywhere, covered in Warren stickers. The bag was on our kitchen counter. I unzipped it. Manila folders, schedules, a laminated card with Warren's daily calendar, and a white business envelope. The envelope had "Warren for Governor" letterhead. Official campaign stationery. It was sealed, but something rattled inside when I picked it up. The paper had that expensive texture, heavy bond, not cheap copy paper. I could smell the glue on the seal. I shouldn't have opened it. But my hands moved before my brain caught up. Inside, a receipt from the Richmond Marriott, room service for 2. Late checkout. Date stamped at the top. My heart didn't race. It just stopped. Like someone had pressed pause on my chest. The date on the receipt. I grabbed my planning calendar from my desk drawer, the one where I track my debate team schedule, Grace's activities, everything. I flipped to September, that weekend. September 14th through 16th. I remembered it clearly. Grace had the flu. High fever. Couldn't keep anything down. Liz said she had to go to a campaign event in Northern Virginia. Some donor dinner Warren needed her at. I stayed home, made soup, watched movies with Grace, and changed cold compresses. But this receipt was from Richmond, 4 blocks from the state capitol, 4 blocks from Warren's campaign headquarters. The room service order, 2 steaks, medium rare. A bottle of wine, something expensive I couldn't pronounce. Dessert for 2. Late checkout. 2 stouch p.m. Sunday. She came home Sunday evening around 6, hugged Grace, kissed my cheek, said the donor dinner had run long, but it was productive. She smelled like hotel soap. I'd thought she'd just freshened up at the venue. I sat at the kitchen table, that receipt in my hands. The envelope glue had left a taste in my mouth, bitter, chemical. That evening, while looking for Grace's permission slip, I found something in Liz's campaign bag that didn't belong there. The next morning, Grace found me in my home office. I work from home when I'm not teaching, grading papers, writing lesson plans. She burst in, phone in hand, wearing her school uniform and that Warren campaign button. Dad, you have to see this. I looked up from the receipt. I'd been staring at it for 20 minutes. The numbers, the date, the room service details, trying to find an innocent explanation, failing. My essay went viral, 50,000 shares. The campaign wants to use it in TV ads. She thrust her phone at me. I saw the essay headline, Leadership That Lives Up to Its Promises, What Senator Warren Taught Me About Integrity. My daughter's words, praising the man who... No, I didn't know yet, not for certain. The receipt could have an explanation. Maybe it was. Maybe she... That's wonderful, honey, I heard myself say. My voice sounded normal. How was that possible? Mrs. Kim from the campaign called Mom this morning. They want to feature my essay in the final push before Election Day. Isn't that amazing? Rachel Kim, Deputy Director. I'd met her at a few campaign events. Sharp, professional, always seemed slightly uncomfortable around Warren. Read me your favorite part, I said. Grace's face lit up. She scrolled on her phone. Senator Warren shows us that leadership means putting family first, not just in speeches, but in actions. Inspired by my own father's example, I've learned that integrity isn't what you do when cameras are watching. It's what you do in the quiet moments when no one's checking. The receipt burned in my pocket. I'd folded it, put it there. Evidence. But evidence of what exactly? Your mother must be proud, I managed. She cried when she read it. Said it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever written. Grace paused. Are you okay, Dad? You look just tired, up late grading. I forced a smile. Go get ready for school. We'll celebrate your essay tonight. After she left, I pulled out the receipt again. Then I did something I'm not proud of. I went to our bedroom. Liz was in the shower. I could hear the water running. Her phone was on the nightstand. I knew her passcode, our anniversary. I opened her text messages. Nothing to Warren directly. She was too smart for that. But there was a thread with Rachel Kim from 3 weeks ago. Rachel, schedule conflict for Monday. Warren's private office 9 p.m. Liz, works for me. Tell him I'll bring the media strategy docs. Rachel, be careful. Liz, always am. That be careful sat in my stomach like a stone. I put the phone back exactly where it was. In the shower, Liz was singing. Something from the campaign theme song. She sounded happy. That afternoon, I did what any good researcher does. I investigated. The ultrasound photo was in Liz's desk drawer at home. I'd seen her put it there 2 weeks ago when she told me she was pregnant. We'd been trying for another baby, or so I thought. She was 12 weeks along, due date in June. I pulled it out. Standard thermal paper, 4 by 6 inches, smooth, slippery surface. The edges were already starting to curl. There was a faint chemical smell, that medical office scent. The image was grainy, black and white. I could barely make out the shape that was supposedly our child, but the date stamp in the corner, that was crystal clear. August 29th, 2025. I sat down at her desk, pulled out my planning calendar again, counted backwards from August 29th, 12 weeks. That put conception in early June. I flipped back in my calendar, June 2nd through June 8th. I was in Washington, D.C., chaperoning the debate team at the national tournament. We left Monday, came back Sunday evening. 7 days. I counted again. Then a third time. The numbers didn't change. I teach probability in my statistics unit. I help students understand confidence intervals, margin of error, statistical significance. The probability of this baby being mine was 0. Not unlikely, not improbable. 0. I sat there for 20 minutes, the ultrasound photo in my hands. The thermal paper had warmed from my grip. Outside, I could hear Liz's car pull into the driveway. She was home early for once, probably to celebrate Grace's viral essay. The front door opened. Thomas, Grace, I brought takeout! Her voice was bright, cheerful, the voice of someone who had no idea what I'd just calculated. I slid the ultrasound photo back into the drawer, exactly where it had been. In here, I called back. Just finishing some grating. When I came out to the kitchen, Liz was unpacking Thai food. Grace was showing her the social media analytics. 60,000 shares now, comments pouring in. Warren's campaign had already made a graphic with Grace's words over a photo of Warren with his family. Family values, real leadership. I looked at my wife across the kitchen counter. 14 years of marriage, a daughter we both loved, a life I thought we'd built together. She looked up and smiled at me. "You okay, babe? You look pale." "Just a long day," I said. That night, I couldn't sleep. Liz was beside me, breathing steadily, one hand resting on her stomach. Our bedroom was dark except for the glow of the alarm clock. 2:47 a.m. I was chaperoning the debate team in D.C. She was pregnant. The math didn't work. The next morning, I got a text from Rachel Kim. "Can we meet? Not at Campaign HQ. It's important." I knew what it meant. I'd known since I saw those texts. Be careful. Rachel knew something. We met at a coffee shop off Capitol Square. Small place, dim lighting, mostly empty at 10 a.m. on a Thursday. Rachel was already there when I arrived, sitting in a corner booth. She had a campaign schedule in front of her, one of those laminated cards they all carried, 5 by 7 inches, color-coded blocks, lanyard hole punched at the top. The plastic lamination was smooth, slippery. When she pushed it across the table toward me, it made a distinct sliding sound. "I struggled with whether to do this," Rachel said without preamble, "but you deserve to know." I looked down at the schedule, Warren's daily calendar, September through October, the confidential stamp across the top. "This is the official schedule," Rachel said. "What we release to staff, what we put in the public calendar." She pulled out a second laminated card, identical format, but different dates highlighted. "This is the real schedule, where Warren actually was." She pointed to September 14th on the first schedule. "Official, donor dinner in Arlington, Virginia, 7 to 10 p.m. Then to the same date on the second schedule. Actual, private dinner, Richmond Marriott, 8 p.m. to late." My hands were shaking. I gripped the edge of the table. "There are 15 nights like this," Rachel said quietly. 15 times the public schedule says one thing, and Warren was somewhere else, always with Liz, always at that hotel or his private office after hours. "Why are you telling me this?" She looked away. "Because I have a daughter too. She's 8, and if I were in your position..." She trailed off. "I'm not proud of staying quiet this long, but I have to think about my job, my family. Warren's going to be governor. Probably. He's up 6 points. Does anyone else know? The senior staff knows something's going on. We're not stupid, but no one talks about it. He's very good at making sure loyalty is rewarded and disloyalty is punished." She paused. "There was another communications director before Liz, 3 years ago. She left suddenly, signed an NDA, got a promotion to a lobbying firm. Word is, there was a similar situation." I stared at the two schedules side by side. All those nights, Liz came home late. Strategy sessions, crisis management, media prep, all lies, all coordinated, all scheduled. Rachel slid both laminated cards across the table. They made that plastic sound again, sliding over the wood. "Keep them," she said. "You'll need evidence." She stood up. "I'm sorry, Thomas. I really am. But you should know, Julian Cruz from the Times-Dispatch is poking around. He's heard rumors. It's only a matter of time before this becomes public." She left me sitting there. 2 schedules, 15 lies, 1 truth I didn't want to face. I confronted Liz that night after Grace went to bed. She was working on debate prep notes in the living room, one of Warren's leather portfolios open on the coffee table. Black leather, expensive smell, MW embossed on the front. Marcus Warren. The yellow legal pad inside was covered in blue pen annotations, Warren's handwriting. I'd seen it on birthday cards he'd sent the office staff. "We need to talk," I said. She looked up from the portfolio, smile ready. "About Grace's essay? The campaign is..." "About this." I dropped the hotel receipt on top of the debate notes. Her face went white, not pale, white, like someone had drained all the blood out of her in an instant. "Thomas, September 14th through 16th, I said. My voice was calm, flat. Teaching voice. "You told me you were at a donor dinner in Northern Virginia. Grace had the flu. I was home with her. You were at the Richmond Marriott, room service for 2, late checkout, Sunday afternoon. Silence. 5 seconds. 10. 15. And then there's this. I put the ultrasound photo down. June conception. I was in D.C. with the debate team the entire week. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. And these. The 2 campaign schedules, one after another. Plastic landing on leather with soft clicks. 15 nights, Liz. 15 nights where the public schedule said one thing and you were somewhere else. Always with Warren, always alone. She reached for the portfolio, muscle memory, wanting to close it, hide it. Her hand touched the leather. Don't, I said. She pulled her hand back. When she spoke, her voice was small. Not the confident communications director voice, the voice of someone cornered. Who gave you those schedules? It doesn't matter. Rachel? Not a question. She's always been jealous of my relationship with... Don't. My voice was sharp. Don't you dare try to spin this. Not to me. She sat back. I watched her recalibrate. 14 years of marriage, and I could see her strategizing in real time. Thomas. Okay, yes. There's been something between Marcus and me, but the baby is not mine. You don't know that. I laughed. It came out bitter, hollow. I teach probability, Liz. I was gone for 7 days during the conception window. The probability is 0. Probability is uncertainty. It is when the math is this clear. She stood up, paced to the window. Her hand went to her stomach, that protective gesture I'd watched her do for 2 weeks, since she told me about the pregnancy. Even if, she said, voice careful, even if Marcus is the father, does that have to mean end of our marriage? Yes, that's exactly what it means. We have a daughter together, Thomas, a life, a community. Your job, my career. Think about what's at stake here. I am thinking about what's at stake. Grace wrote an essay defending Warren's integrity. It's gone viral. The campaign wants to use it. Her words are going to be plastered across Virginia, praising the man who... I couldn't finish. That's exactly why we need to wait. She turned back to me, and now the communications director was back, full force. 5 weeks, Thomas. Just 5 weeks until the election. After that, we can figure this out privately. Get the paternity test, handle it quietly. But right now, if this comes out, you're worried about the campaign. I'm worried about 200 people who work for this campaign and depend on it. I'm worried about our daughter, who will be humiliated if this becomes public before the election. I'm worried about you. Do you really want to be the man who cost Virginia a good governor because of personal issues? I stared at her. A good governor. Yes. He's sleeping with his employee. He got her pregnant. He's lying to voters every day about who he is. But he's a good governor. Politics is complicated, Thomas. You teach history. You know that great leaders aren't always perfect in their private lives. I teach civics. I teach Grace that character matters, that we vote for people whose values match their promises. I picked up one of Warren's voter guides from the side table. Grace had brought home a stack. The glossy trifold made that slick paper sound when I opened it. Warren's family photo, Diane smiling, their kids. Family values, real leadership, I read aloud. He put his wife on this, his kids. Does he even see the irony? Thomas, what did he promise you? After the election, is he leaving Diane? She didn't answer, didn't need to. Her face said everything. Let me guess, I said. After he wins, after the transition, after the first year. There's always a timeline with men like him, isn't there? Always a reason why now isn't the right time. You don't understand what it's like to work at that level, the opportunities. I understand that you're asking me to lie to our daughter for 5 more weeks, to let her stand in front of her school, in front of the state, defending a lie. I understand you want me to be complicit. She looked at me with those campaign strategist eyes, the eyes that had calculated photo ops and messaging angles and voter demographics for 18 months. Thomas, you're a teacher. You understand collateral damage. Sometimes the individual has to sacrifice for the greater good. Just wait until November 6th, after the election. Then we'll sort this out privately, with lawyers, with dignity. But right now, you're choosing the campaign. I'm choosing to be smart. No, I said. You're choosing Warren over us, over Grace, over whatever we had. I picked up the leather portfolio, that expensive leather smell, the yellow legal pad with Warren's handwriting all over it. I flipped to the last page, about to close it, and I saw it. A note, in Warren's handwriting, not about debate prep. Personal. After we win, everything changes. Can't wait to finally go public. I love you. I held it up. When were you planning to tell me about this? She lunged for the portfolio. I stepped back. That's private correspondence. You have no right. I have every right. This is evidence that you've been planning this, that both of you knew, that every just wait 5 weeks is bullshit, because you've already decided what happens after. Give me that. No. We stood there, the portfolio between us. 14 years of marriage, 1 daughter, a life I thought we shared, all of it collapsing in real time. I'm moving to a hotel tonight, I said. I'll tell Grace it's for work, grading AP exams, something. You figure out what you want to tell her, but I'm not sleeping in this house, not anymore. Thomas, please. And Liz? I looked at her, really looked at her, tried to find the woman I married, couldn't. The next time you see Julian Cruz, tell him I have no comment, for now. Her eyes widened. You wouldn't. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to stand in front of my students on Monday and teach about integrity while living a lie. I'm not going to watch Grace's essay get turned into a campaign ad based on hypocrisy. And I'm not going to let you or Warren or anyone else tell me that the truth is negotiable just because the timing is inconvenient. I walked to the bedroom, packed a bag. When I came back through the living room, Liz was sitting on the couch, the portfolio closed on her lap, crying. I didn't stop, didn't comfort her, didn't say goodbye. I'd already lost her. Maybe I never really had her. Outside, I sat in my car in the driveway for 10 minutes before starting the engine. Through the living room window, I could see Liz on her phone, probably calling Warren, probably telling him damage control was needed. I pulled out of the driveway. My phone buzzed. A text from Liz. Please don't do something we'll all regret. I didn't respond. If you've ever realized someone you loved was calculating your pain, just type calculating in the comments. You're not alone. I drove to a hotel. Not the Richmond Marriott, somewhere smaller, cheaper, where no one would look for a high school history teacher having a breakdown. I sat on the bed, opened my laptop, looked at Grace's essay on social media, 75,000 shares now. The campaign had made it into a beautiful graphic, Warren's face, his family, Grace's words about integrity. I teach my students that democracy dies in the dark. Turns out my marriage died there too. I stayed at the hotel for 3 days before someone found me. Thursday morning, I was in the Richmond Academy parking lot, getting books from my trunk for second period. The October air was crisp, leaves turning orange and red around campus. Students were streaming toward the building. Normal. Everything looked normal. Then I saw him walking toward me. Young guy, maybe 26, 27. Lanyard around his neck with a plastic badge. Richmond Times-Dispatch logo, his photo, name, Julian Cruz. The badge swung when he walked, tapping against his chest. Plastic weight on fabric. I could hear it from 10 feet away. Mr. Bradford, Julian Cruz, Richmond Times-Dispatch. Do you have a minute? I closed my trunk. I'm on my way to class. This won't take long. He pulled out a notebook. Old school, paper, not a phone. I'm working on a story about Senator Warren's campaign, specifically about his relationship with his communications director, Elizabeth Bradford Warren. That's your wife, correct? My stomach dropped, but I kept my face neutral. Teacher face, the one that doesn't react when a student tries to shock you. No comment. I understand this is sensitive, but I've spoken to multiple sources who say there's been an inappropriate relationship between... No comment. Mr. Bradford, this story is running, with or without your input. I'm giving you a chance to... I saw movement in my peripheral vision. Principal Anderson, standing at her office window on the second floor, watching us. She'd know who Julian was. Small town, political reporter, visible press badge. I need to get to class, I said. Can I at least get confirmation that you and your wife are currently separated? How did he know that? You have no comment on rumors that Senator Warren is the father of your wife's unborn child? The words hit like a fist. Rumors, already circulating, already out there in some form. No, comment. I walked toward the building. Julian called after me. My editor wants this for Sunday's paper. That's 3 days, Mr. Bradford. If you change your mind about providing your perspective, call me. He held out a business card. I didn't take it, kept walking. Behind me, I heard him say, "Voters have a right to know who they're electing." Inside the building, my hands were shaking. I went to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, breathed Sunday paper, 3 days. The story was breaking whether I participated or not. My phone buzzed, text from Liz. "Julian Cruz just called me for comment. What did you tell him?" I typed back, "Nothing. Unlike you, I kept my mouth shut." Her response came immediately. "We need to talk. Tonight. Please." I didn't respond. Another text. "Grace is asking where you are. I told her you're grading AP exams at a hotel for quiet. How long can we keep lying to her?" I stared at that message. The irony was suffocating. Third text. "Marcus wants to meet with you. He can offer..." I deleted the thread, blocked her number. Then I went to teach second period about the Electoral College and how informed voters make democracy work. Julian Cruz's press badge was still in my mind. That plastic weight swinging on the lanyard, ticking clock made visible. That afternoon, Grace showed up at my classroom after school. I was erasing the whiteboard when she walked in, still wearing her school uniform, still wearing that campaign button. The metal caught the light from the window. "Mom said you're staying at a hotel to grade." I turned around. "That's right. For a week? Maybe longer." She sat down in one of the front row desks, the same desk Sarah Chen sat in during second period. "Are you and Mom fighting?" "Why would you think that?" "Because you've been married 14 years and you've never stayed at a hotel to grade before. Because Mom cried at breakfast this morning. Because you're lying to me right now." Smart kid. Too smart. I sat on the edge of my desk. "Your mom and I are working through some things, adult things. It has nothing to do with you. That's what parents always say when they're getting divorced. We're not..." I stopped. Couldn't finish that sentence. Couldn't lie to her face. "It's complicated, Grace. Is it about the campaign? Are you mad she's working so much?" "No, it's not about the campaign." "Then what?" I looked at her. 14 years old, campaign button pinned over her heart. Essay defending Warren's integrity shared 85,000 times now. I'd checked this morning. Her face was open, trusting, waiting for her father to explain the world the way I always had. "Sometimes," I said carefully, "adults make choices that affect everyone around them, and sometimes those choices mean relationships change. Even relationships you thought were solid." "That's vague, Dad." "I know. Are you going to tell me what's actually going on?" "Not yet." "Why not?" "Because..." I trailed off. "Because your mother is having an affair with her boss. Because the baby she's carrying isn't mine. Because the senator you wrote an essay about is a liar and a hypocrite, and I'm trying to figure out how to tell you without destroying you. Because some things need to be handled by adults first, before kids get involved." She stood up. "I'm not a kid. I'm 14. You're my kid, always will be." She walked to the door, stopped, turned back. "Mom said you might do something that embarrasses her. Something that could hurt the campaign." My chest tightened. "She said that?" "Not exactly like that, but that's what she meant. She said you're upset about something and you might make a choice that affects a lot of people." Grace paused. "Dad, whatever you're mad about, can't it wait? Just 5 more weeks? After the election, you and Mom can figure out whatever this is. But right now, there are 200 people working on this campaign. Mrs. Kim's daughter needs the health insurance. The interns need the experience for their resumes, and Senator Warren. He's a good man, Dad. You taught me to look at a leader's character. He has character." I closed my eyes. "Please," Grace said, "whatever this is, just wait 5 more weeks." She left. I sat at my desk for 20 minutes, staring at the Constitution poster, those words I'd looked at for 12 years. We the people. What happens when the people are being lied to? What happens when a teacher knows the truth and stays silent? What happens when telling the truth destroys your daughter's innocence? 50,000 people were sharing my daughter's essay, praising the senator who got my wife pregnant. I had 5 weeks to decide if I'd let my daughter's words become the biggest irony of her life. Friday evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Mr. Bradford, this is Marcus Warren." I sat up on the hotel bed. "Senator, please call me Marcus. We've met several times at campaign events. I wanted to reach out personally, man to man, about this situation." Situation? "Elizabeth told me about your conversation, about the..." Concerns you have. Concerns. I laughed. It sounded hollow even to me. That's a diplomatic word for it. I understand you're angry. You have every right to be, but I'm hoping we can discuss this rationally. Adult to adult. I'm listening. What would it take for you to wait until after the election to pursue any legal action? I'm not asking you to forgive anything. I'm not asking you to reconcile with Elizabeth. I'm simply asking for time. You want me to stay quiet. I want us to be thoughtful about timing. Thomas, may I call you Thomas? You're an educator. You understand that sometimes individual concerns need to be balanced against broader consequences. 218 people work for this campaign. Their jobs, their health insurance, their careers, all tied to the next 5 weeks. And your political future. Yes, I won't insult you by pretending that's not part of this. But it's not just about me. It's about the policies we'll implement. Healthcare expansion, education funding. Your own school district would benefit from our proposals. Environmental protections. These things matter, Thomas. I said nothing. I'm prepared to make this right, Warren continued. Financially, professionally. Name your price. Grad school for Grace. Any university she wants, full ride, I have connections. A new position for you. State curriculum development, significantly higher salary, a generous settlement in the divorce so you're taken care of. Whatever you need. You're trying to bribe me. I'm trying to be practical. Look, what happened between Elizabeth and me, it was wrong. I'm not denying that. I made a choice that hurt people, but it doesn't erase the good I can do as governor. Sometimes we have to separate personal failings from public service. Like JFK, I said. Like Bill Clinton. Great leaders, messy private lives. That's the argument, right? History remembers them for their policies, not their affairs. History also remembers the people they hurt. Monica Lewinsky's name is forever tied to her trauma. Does Diane know about this conversation? Silence. Your wife, I clarified. The one in the campaign photos, the one on the voter guides, family values, real leadership. Does she know you're offering me money to keep quiet about the affair? Diane and I will handle our marriage privately. That's not an answer. Thomas, I'm trying to find a solution that minimizes collateral damage for everyone, including Grace. Have you thought about what it will do to her if this becomes public before the election? Her essay has gone viral. She's become the face of our family values message. If the truth comes out now, she'll be humiliated. I know. I've thought about nothing else. Then help me protect her. Wait 5 weeks. After November 6th, you can do whatever you need to do. File for divorce. Pursue custody. I'll take full responsibility for the child. Financial, medical, everything. I'm not trying to avoid consequences. I'm trying to control the timing. I stood up. Walked to the hotel window. Outside, Richmond's downtown lights were coming on. Capitol building visible in the distance. Let me ask you something, Senator. When you put together those voter guides, when you posed for that photo with Diane and your kids, did you think about the irony? Thomas, family values, real leadership. You put those words under your family's picture while you were sleeping with your communications director, while you were getting her pregnant. Did you even notice the hypocrisy? I'm not perfect, but I'm the best choice Virginia has for governor. You know my opponent's platform, cutting education funding, rolling back environmental protections, restricting healthcare access. Are those the values you want to win because of personal anger? This isn't about anger. Then what is it about? I turned away from the window. It's about my daughter learning that character matters, that when someone's private actions contradict their public promises, we don't vote for them. We hold them accountable. Even if accountability means collateral damage to innocent people, to Grace, to my kids, to Diane, to the campaign staff. You created the collateral damage, not me. But you'll be the one who triggers it. I didn't respond. Warren's voice changed, less smooth, more edge. Julian Cruz is running a story Sunday. It's going to speculate about an affair. Right now, it's speculation. Anonymous sources, rumor. Without confirmation from you or Elizabeth, it's just gossip. After the election, it won't matter. We'll have won or lost. Either way, the story becomes old news. But if you go public now, if you file for divorce now, if you give Julian ammunition, you're the one making the choice to blow this up. I'm not the one who had the affair. No, but you're the one deciding what to do about it. Think about that, Thomas. Think about whether you want to be known as the man who cost Virginia a good governor because he couldn't wait 5 weeks. The line went dead. I stood there, phone in my hand. Through the hotel room wall, I could hear a TV, news coverage of the gubernatorial race, Warren's voice giving a speech about integrity in government. I picked up my laptop, opened it, looked at Grace's essay again. 92,000 shares now. Senator Warren shows us that leadership means putting family first, not just in speeches but in actions. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Rachel Kim. I know you spoke with Julian. Be careful. Warren has a PR team that will destroy your reputation if you become a threat. They're already preparing narratives about jealous husband and career sabotage. Protect yourself. I stared at the message. Another text from Rachel. Also, meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m., same coffee shop. I have something else you need to see. Saturday morning, same coffee shop off Capitol Square. Rachel was already in the corner booth when I arrived. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes. You okay? I asked, sliding into the booth. I've had 2 hours of sleep in the last 48. Warren knows someone leaked the schedules to you. He doesn't know it was me, but he's interrogating everyone, threatening people. She pulled out her phone. I'm showing you this, and then I'm deleting it from my device. Okay? Okay. She opened her voice memos, pressed play. Warren's voice came through the speaker. Background noise, office sounds, chairs, paper shuffling. Need to keep Bradford quiet until November 6th. After that, I don't care what happens. But before, he could tank our numbers. Elizabeth's voice. He's not going to stay quiet, Marcus. He found the hotel receipt. He knows about the timeline. He's angry. Then manage him? He's your husband. You know what motivates him. Use grace. Use guilt. Use whatever it takes. I tried. He's not responding to any of it. Try harder, or I'll have to handle it myself. What does that mean? It means I have a PR team and lawyers and resources. We'll paint him as unstable, jealous, a man trying to sabotage his wife's career out of spite. By the time we're done, no one will take his accusations seriously. Marcus, he's a good person. He's just hurt. I don't care if he's hurt. I care if he talks. Make sure he doesn't. Rachel stopped the recording. I accidentally left my phone recording in my bag during a strategy meeting. Found this when I checked my memos later. When was this? Wednesday, 2 days after you confronted Elizabeth. I sat back. Warren's voice echoed in my head. Make sure he doesn't talk. There's more, Rachel said quietly. This isn't the first time. 3 years ago, before Elizabeth, there was another communications director. Her name was Amy Thornton. She left the campaign suddenly, signed an NDA, got a promotion to a lobbying firm, suspiciously well-timed. I reached out to her. She won't talk on record. But off the record? She confirmed there was an affair, confirmed Warren used the same playbook, isolation, pressure, offers of money, and career advancement. He has a pattern. He has a system. And Elizabeth isn't the first married woman. Amy was engaged at the time, called off her wedding 2 months after leaving the campaign. I closed my eyes. I'm telling you this because you need to know what you're up against, Rachel said. Warren is not going to let you expose this quietly. If you go public, he will destroy you, your reputation, your job, your credibility, everything. He has the resources to do it. Why are you helping me? She looked down at her coffee. Because I have a daughter. And if someone did to my husband what Warren did to you, I'd want someone to help us. She paused. And because I've stayed quiet for too long. About Amy, about Elizabeth, about the way Warren treats women on this campaign. I told myself it wasn't my business, that I needed this job. But watching him threaten you, watching Elizabeth manipulate you with grace, I can't be part of that. What happens to you when this comes out? I'll lose my job, probably get blacklisted in Virginia politics, but I'll be able to look at my daughter and know I did the right thing. She stood up. Delete that recording from your mind after you've listened. I can't have it traced back to me until after you've already gone public. But when you need evidence, and you will, tell your lawyer to depose me. I'll testify to what I know. She left. I sat in that booth for an hour, the recording playing in my head. Warren's cold calculation. Elizabeth's manipulation. Use grace, use guilt, use whatever it takes. My phone buzzed. Text from Grace. Dad, can you come home? Just for dinner? I miss you. Mom misses you. We can figure this out as a family. Use grace. I couldn't respond. Sunday afternoon, I went to see my mother, Margaret Bradford, 71 years old, retired principal. The woman who raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 19. She lived in a small house in Church Hill, shelves full of books, photos of my father on the walls. I sat at her kitchen table. Same table I'd done homework at as a teenager, same chairs. You look terrible, she said, putting tea in front of me. I feel terrible. Elizabeth called me, said you found out about something, said you're considering doing something that would hurt a lot of people. That's one way to describe it. Mom sat across from me. She had a sample ballot on the table, one of those practice ballots they send out before elections. White paper, Virginia seal, Warren's name listed under gubernatorial candidates. Tell me what happened, she said. So I did. The hotel receipt, the ultrasound timeline, Rachel's schedules, the recording, Warren's bribe attempt, Grace's viral essay, Julian Cruz's investigation. When I finished, Mom was quiet for a long time. Your grandfather, she finally said, lost his job in 1968. He was teaching at an all-white school during integration. The administration wanted him to teach that integration was wrong, to tell his students that some people were inferior. You know what he did? I shook my head. He brought in books about the civil rights movement, invited a black minister to speak to his class, got fired the next day. She touched the sample ballot. Lost his job, lost his pension, lost his reputation in that community. Your grandmother had to go back to work. They almost lost their house. I didn't know that. He never regretted it, never, because he knew that teaching the truth was more important than keeping his job. He used to say, if I teach my students that some lies are acceptable, I've taught them that all truth is negotiable. She looked at me. You're worried about Grace. She's 14. Her essay has been shared almost 100,000 times now. If I expose Warren, if this becomes public before the election, she's going to be humiliated. Her friends will see. Her school will see. The entire state will see. She'll know her mother betrayed our family. She'll know the senator she defended is a liar. How do I do that to her? You love her more than anything. Then teach her the truth. Thomas, if you stay quiet, if you let this go for 5 more weeks because the timing is convenient for everyone else, what are you teaching Grace? You're teaching her that integrity is situational. That character matters except when it's hard, that we compromise truth for convenience. She's going to hate me, probably for a while, but eventually she'll understand. And more importantly, she'll learn that when someone you love makes a terrible choice, you don't enable it. You don't cover for it. You don't sacrifice your own integrity to protect theirs. Warren will destroy my reputation. He has lawyers, PR teams. Your grandfather lost his job. You might lose yours, but you won't lose yourself. She pushed the sample ballot toward me. This is what's at stake, not just the election, your daughter's understanding of how integrity works. If you teach her that truth is negotiable, you've already lost her, even if you keep her. I picked up the ballot, that raised Virginia seal, gubernatorial candidates listed. Your father would tell you the same thing, Mom said. Before the accident, when you were applying to colleges, you remember what he said? Make choices you can defend to the people you love. Can you defend staying quiet? I looked at the Constitution poster in my mind, the one in my classroom, 12 years old, corners curled. We the people. No, I said, I can't. Mom reached across the table, took my hand. Your grandfather lost his job for teaching truth. You're worried about losing Grace. But, sweetheart, if you teach her that truth is negotiable, you've already lost her. I sat there, holding my mother's hand, understanding what I had to do. If you were Thomas, would you expose the truth before the election and risk being blamed for changing history? Type, expose. Or, wait until after to protect Grace from public humiliation. Type, wait. What would you do? There's no easy answer. Both choices break something. Monday morning, I got a call from Peter Donnelly. I'd seen his name in the news, campaign manager for Warren's opponent. We'd never met. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Bradford, Peter Donnelly. I'd like to meet with you, today if possible. Why? Because I have information you need, and you have information I need. 30 minutes, public place, just a conversation. We met at the Virginia State Capitol steps, noon. Tourists everywhere. School groups taking photos. Public and bold. Donnelly was in his 40s, wearing a suit, carrying a briefcase. He looked like exactly what he was, a political operative. "I'll be direct," he said. "We have security footage from the Richmond Marriott, September 14th through 16th. Warren and your wife entering a room together, leaving the next morning, multiple instances over the past 6 months." My stomach dropped. "How did you—" "Opposition research. We knew something was off, hired a firm to investigate. They got the footage legally, public spaces, no expectation of privacy." He pulled out a tablet. "I can show you if you want proof." "No. We're planning to release this footage November 1st, 5 days before the election, maximum impact, minimum time for Warren's team to spin it." "Why are you telling me?" "Because I want to give you the chance to control your family's narrative. If we release this, you're going to be blindsided. Media will descend on you, Grace. Everyone. But if you go public first, file for divorce now, give a statement, you take away Warren's ability to spin you as vindictive or lying. You become the wrong party instead of a political pawn." I looked out at the Capitol dome. "You want me to be your weapon. I want you to be a truth teller. There's a difference. You're asking me to coordinate with political opposition, to time my divorce for maximum campaign damage. I'm telling you that this story is coming out. Warren's team can't stop it. Julian Cruz can't ignore it. We have evidence that's going to break this wide open. The only question is whether you're caught in the crossfire or whether you stand up with dignity. And if I don't cooperate, we release the footage anyway. You get no warning, no preparation. Your daughter learns about her mother's affair from a campaign attack ad instead of from you." He paused. "I'm not a nice guy, Mr. Bradford. I'm a political operative. But I'm giving you 5 days' notice because I have kids too, and I wouldn't want them to find out this way." He handed me a card. "Think about it, but don't take too long. November 1st is Wednesday. That's 48 hours from now." He walked away. I stood on the Capitol steps, school groups chattering around me, tourists taking photos, everything normal, except nothing was normal. The footage was real. The release was inevitable. Warren's exposure was coming with or without my cooperation. We have security footage. We'll release it November 1st, 5 days before the election. You can control your family's story, or we will. That evening, Grace came to the hotel. I opened the door, and she was standing there with her backpack, still in her school uniform, still wearing that campaign button. "Grace, Mom doesn't know I'm here. I took the bus." She walked past me into the room. "We need to talk." I closed the door. "How did you find—" "You left a receipt on the kitchen counter last week. Holiday Inn Express, Broad Street. Wasn't hard." She sat on the bed. "Dad, what's going on? And don't give me vague adult answers. Something's really wrong and you're not telling me." I sat in the desk chair, facing her. "Your mom and I are having problems." "What kind of problems?" "The kind that means we're probably getting divorced." Her face crumbled. "Because of the campaign? Because she's working too much?" "No." "Then why?" I looked at her, 14 years old, metal campaign button over her heart, the face of family values messaging across Virginia. My daughter, the person I love most in the world. I couldn't tell her, not yet, not like this. "Sometimes people make choices that break trust," I said carefully. "And when trust breaks, relationships can't survive." "Did you cheat on her?" "No." "Did she cheat on you?" Silence. Grace's eyes widened. "Oh my God, she did? She stood up, paced to the window. "Who?" "Grace? Who, Dad? Who did she—" She stopped, turned around slowly. I watched her piece it together. Late nights. Strategy sessions. Warren's office. Warren's name everywhere in our house for 18 months. "No," she said. "No, not Senator Warren. Dad, tell me it's not Senator Warren." I couldn't speak. "Dad, please." "I'm sorry, honey." She sat down hard on the bed. The campaign button caught the light. My essay that went viral, that they're using in TV ads. I wrote about his integrity, about how he puts family first. I know. 100,000 people shared that. My teacher saw it. My friends saw it. Emily's mom called me an inspiration. Her voice was rising. I defended him. I used you as an example. I said he reminded me of you. You didn't know. Everyone's going to know I was wrong. Everyone's going to see that I... She stopped, looked at me. When did you find out? Last week. And you didn't tell me? I was trying to protect you. By letting me keep praising him, by letting my essay get turned into campaign propaganda, Dad, how is that protection? I didn't know what to do. Your mom asked me to wait until after the election, to keep this private, to let me what? Keep being a fool? Keep defending a liar? She ripped the campaign button off her uniform. The pin tore the fabric. She threw it at the wall. The metal button hit the paint with a sharp clink, fell to the floor. I have to go back to school tomorrow. Everyone's still sharing my essay. The campaign is still using it. And I'm supposed to, what? Just keep pretending? Grace, does Mrs. Kim know? Rachel knows. She's the one who helped me get evidence. Does Senator Warren's wife know? I don't know. Does anyone care that this is going to ruin my life? I care. That's why I've been trying to figure out how to... You should have told me right away. You should have... Her voice broke. She was crying, angry crying. The kind where tears are involuntary, but the fury is real. I trusted you to tell me the truth. You always tell me the truth. That's who you are. And you let me walk around school, let me defend him to my friends, let me write about his character. I'm sorry, I made the wrong choice. I should have told you immediately. Yes, you should have. She grabbed her backpack, headed for the door. Grace, where are you going? Home, to ask Mom if she's planning to tell me anything, or if I'm supposed to find out everything secondhand. Wait, let me drive you. I took the bus here. I can take it back. She opened the door, stopped, turned around. My essay, that they're using in ads. How do I get them to stop using it? I don't know. Figure it out. Because I'm not going to be the face of family values for a man who destroyed his family and ours. She paused. And Dad? Whatever you're planning to do about this, do it. Don't wait. Because staying quiet isn't protecting me. It's making it worse. She left. The campaign button was still on the floor. That metal circle, Warren's face, red, white, and blue. I picked it up. The pin was bent from impact. Grace had worn it for 3 months. Proud, enthusiastic, a symbol of everything she believed about leadership and integrity. Now it was trash. My phone buzzed. Text from Elizabeth. Grace just got home. She's hysterical. What did you tell her? I typed back. The truth. You should try it sometime. Another buzz. You're destroying her. You're destroying all of us. For what? Revenge? For accountability. November 1st. That's Peter Donnelly's deadline. You're coordinating with opposition research now? I'm making sure my daughter doesn't learn about her mother's affair from a campaign attack ad. If you do this, if you file before the election, I will fight you for custody. I will tell the court you're unstable, that you're using Grace as a weapon, that you're more concerned with destroying Warren than protecting your daughter. I stared at the message. Try it, I typed. Bring your lawyers. Bring Warren's PR team. Bring whoever you want. I have evidence, schedules, a recording of Warren telling you to manipulate me, hotel receipts, security footage. And now, I have a daughter who knows the truth and will testify to being lied to. Good luck spinning that. She didn't respond. I looked at the campaign button in my hand, then at my laptop. Tomorrow was Tuesday. I'd call a lawyer first thing in the morning. The story was coming out Wednesday anyway. I might as well control how it started. I teach my students that democracy dies in the dark. Turns out my marriage died there too, but the truth was about to walk into the light, whether it burned everything on the way or not. Tuesday morning, I called my mother. I need a lawyer, I said. Family law, someone who can file fast. I'll make calls. By noon, I was sitting in an attorney's office in downtown Richmond. Catherine Morrison, specialist in high-profile divorces. My mother had worked with her during her years as principal. Custody disputes, complicated situations. Catherine was in her 50s, sharp suit, no-nonsense demeanor. She listened while I laid out everything. The hotel receipts, the ultrasound timeline, the campaign schedules, the recording of Warren telling Elizabeth to manipulate me, the security footage Donnelly's team had. This is a lot of evidence, she said when I finished. More than enough for adultery grounds. Virginia still recognizes fault-based divorce. With this documentation, you'll get a favorable settlement. I don't care about the settlement. I care about custody. You'll get primary custody. No question. The mother's affair, especially with her employer in such a public capacity, combined with the deception about paternity, any judge will see you as the stable parent. She paused. But Thomas, you need to understand what's going to happen when you file this. The moment these papers become public record, and they will immediately, this becomes a news story. Not just local, national, your daughter's viral essay, the gubernatorial candidate, the pregnancy. It's going to be everywhere. I know. Your wife will have access to Warren's legal resources. They'll try to paint you as vindictive, as timing this for political damage. They'll argue you're using your daughter as a weapon. Let them try. I have the recording. I have Warren's voice telling Elizabeth to manipulate me. I have evidence of a pattern, another communications director 3 years ago. Catherine nodded. Okay, we can file today. Service can happen tomorrow. Where do you want her served? I thought about it. Campaign headquarters during a strategy meeting would be public, maximum witnesses, maximum impact. But it would also be maximum humiliation. For Elizabeth, yes. But also for everyone who worked there, for Rachel, who'd helped me, for the junior staffers who had nothing to do with this. Campaign headquarters, I said anyway. Tomorrow morning, during their daily strategy meeting, Warren will be there. You're sure? I'm sure. She pulled out the paperwork. Standard Virginia divorce petition. Grounds, adultery. Supporting documentation attached. We went through every line. My signature. Her signature as my attorney. The pen felt heavy. Blue ink on white paper. Legal paper. Heavier than regular. That 24-pound bond you can feel the difference of. Catherine took the petition, slid it into a manila folder. The tab made that scratching sound against the documents. I'll file this at the courthouse this afternoon. It becomes public record the moment it's stamped. I'm guessing you have about 3 hours before reporters find it. Julian Cruz already knows to look. Then you have less than 3 hours. She handed me her card. Don't talk to any media without me present. Don't engage with Warren or your wife directly. Everything goes through me now. Understood? Understood. She walked me to the door. For what it's worth, you're doing the right thing. It's going to hurt. It's going to be messy, but you're doing the right thing. I left her office, drove to the courthouse, sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes. My phone buzzed. Text from Grace. Are you really going to file for divorce before the election? Yes. Good. Do it today. I can't walk around school one more day with people congratulating me on that stupid essay. I typed back, I'm filing this afternoon. It'll be public by tonight. Are you ready for that? No, but it's better than lying. I got out of the car, walked into the courthouse, met Catherine at the clerk's office. She handed over the petition. The clerk reviewed it, stamped it. That sound, that permanent red ink hitting paper. Filed at 2:47 p.m., the clerk said. Public record as of now. Catherine squeezed my shoulder. It's done. We walked out together. The October sun was bright, leaves crunching under our feet on the courthouse steps. Everything looked normal. A regular Tuesday afternoon in Richmond. Except my marriage was officially over. And in about 2 hours, everyone would know why. My phone started buzzing before we reached the parking lot. Julian Cruz calling. I didn't answer. Text from Rachel. I just saw the filing. You did it. Thank God. I'll be ready to testify when you need me. Another text. Unknown number. Mr. Bradford, this is Julian Cruz. I have your divorce filing. I'd like to get your statement before we run the story. Can we talk? I forwarded it to Catherine. She called him back, put it on speaker. Mr. Cruz, this is Catherine Morrison, Mr. Bradford's attorney. My client has no comment at this time beyond what's in the public filing. The facts speak for themselves. Can you confirm the allegation that Senator Warren is the father of Mrs. Bradford's unborn child? The filing addresses paternity questions. We have medical evidence supporting our position. We'll be pursuing DNA testing through proper legal channels. Is Mr. Bradford coordinating with the opposition campaign? My client is pursuing a private divorce action based on his wife's adultery. Any political implications are incidental and not his concern. Mrs. Bradford's attorney released a statement calling this filing a vindictive political attack designed to interfere with a free and fair election. Your response? Catherine's voice went cold. My client discovered his wife was having an affair with her boss and carrying that man's child. The timing of his filing is based on when he learned the truth and when he could no longer, in good conscience, remain silent. To call a man's response to betrayal vindictive is to blame the victim. We have evidence of Senator Warren actively pressuring my client to remain quiet for political purposes. We have recordings. We have documentation. If anyone is mixing politics with personal matters, it's the Senator and Mrs. Bradford. Can I quote you on that? You can quote me on this. Truth isn't vindictive, it's just true, and Virginia voters deserve to know who they're electing. She hung up. That'll be in the evening news, she said, along with the filing details. By tomorrow morning, this will be the biggest story in Virginia politics. What happens to Elizabeth? She'll lawyer up. Warren will loan her his legal team. They'll argue for joint custody, try to paint you as unstable or manipulative. But with your evidence, they don't have a case. The adultery is documented. The deception is clear. Warren's recorded voice telling her to manipulate you seals it. And the campaign, Catherine shrugged. That's Warren's problem, not yours. Wednesday morning, I woke up to my face on the news. Not a good photo. They'd pulled it from the Richmond Academy website. My faculty headshot, slightly outdated. The headline, Teacher Files for Divorce Against Senator Warren's Communications Director, Alleging Affair and Paternity Fraud. My phone had 63 missed calls, texts from people I hadn't talked to in years. Reporters camped outside the hotel. I could see them from my window. 3 news vans, cameras, reporters with microphones. I didn't leave the room. The story was everywhere. Local news, national news, political blogs, social media. Grace's essay was being reshared, but now with a different context. This aged poorly was trending on Twitter. At 10 a.m., Warren held a press conference. I watched it on my laptop. He stood at a podium outside campaign headquarters, Diane beside him. She looked shell-shocked. Their kids weren't there? Smart move by his handlers. I want to address the allegations that have been made, Warren began. His voice was steady, practiced. Thomas Bradford has filed for divorce from his wife, my communications director, Elizabeth Bradford. He's made serious accusations in that filing. Out of respect for the Bradford family's privacy and for the privacy of my own family, I won't be addressing the specific allegations at this time. What I will say is this. This is clearly a personal matter that has unfortunately been dragged into the political sphere during the final days of a campaign. I believe in the democratic process. I believe Virginia voters are smart enough to separate private family matters from public policy. My focus remains on... A reporter shouted, "Senator, are you the father of Mrs. Bradford's unborn child?" Warren's face tightened. As I said, I won't be addressing... Is it true you had another affair with a previous communications director? That's an unsubstantiated... Did you pressure Mr. Bradford to stay silent until after the election? Warren looked at Diane. She was staring straight ahead. Not at him. Not at the cameras. Just ahead. Into nothing. This press conference is over, Warren said. He walked away. Diane followed, separately, 3 feet between them. The body language said everything. By noon, Diane's family had released a statement through their attorney. The family who owned 30% of Warren's campaign financing through their trust. The statement was brief. The Hartwell family is disappointed to learn of Senator Warren's personal conduct. We are evaluating our continued support of his candidacy and will make a determination in the coming days. Warren's poll numbers dropped 4 points by evening. Thursday, Grace came back to the hotel. This time, she'd told Elizabeth she was coming, arrived with a duffel bag. "I'm staying here," she announced. "Mom said I could. She's dealing with her own stuff right now." "Okay." Grace dropped the bag, sat on the bed. "School was horrible today. I'm sorry." Emily's mom pulled her aside at lunch to check if I was okay. Like I'm some charity case. Half the kids are looking at me like I'm broken. The other half are avoiding me entirely. And my essay, God, my essay is everywhere. People are making memes out of it. This you, with screenshots of my words next to headlines about the affair. Grace, no, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine. But it's real. This is what happens when you defend someone without knowing who they really are. She looked at me. Did I ever tell you why I wrote that essay? No. Because I believed it. I watched Senator Warren at campaign events. saw how he treated his staff, how he talked about his family, how he presented himself. And I thought, this is what leadership looks like. This is what Dad teaches about. I used you as my measuring stick. I thought Warren was like you. He's nothing like me. I know that now, but I didn't then. And that's on me. She paused. Mrs. Kim called me, Rachel. She wanted me to know that she's testifying for you, that she has evidence Mom and Warren were planning to manipulate you. She said she's sorry she didn't speak up sooner. Rachel's a good person. Unlike Mom. Your mom made bad choices. That doesn't make her a bad person. Grace looked at me incredulously. Dad, she cheated on you, got pregnant with someone else's baby, tried to trick you into raising it, told you to stay quiet for the campaign. How is that not a bad person? Because people are complicated. Your mom is ambitious, driven, made terrible choices. But she's also the woman who stayed up with you all night when you had croup as a baby, who taught you to read, who loves you genuinely, even if she showed incredibly poor judgment in other areas. You're defending her. No, I'm refusing to simplify her. There's a difference. Grace was quiet for a long time. Then, the debate is tomorrow night, the final one before the election. They're definitely going to ask him about it. I know. Are you going to watch? Probably. Can I watch with you? If you want. I want to see if he can answer, if he can look at a camera and justify what he did. Family values. She shook her head. He destroyed his family. He destroyed ours, and he put it on campaign posters. Friday evening, the final gubernatorial debate, broadcast live on every major Virginia station. Grace and I watched from the hotel room. Mom was there too. She'd driven down to be with us. The three of us on the bed, laptop propped up on the desk. Warren walked onto the stage. He looked thinner than a week ago, tired. Diane wasn't in the audience, notable absence. His kids weren't there either. The opponent, Governor Richards, looked confident. Rested. The moderator, a veteran political journalist from Norfolk, didn't waste time. Senator Warren, we'll start with you. This week, your communications director's husband filed for divorce, alleging adultery and claiming you're the father of her unborn child. This comes after you've spent 18 months campaigning on a family values platform. How do you reconcile your private conduct with your public message? The room was silent. Not just the debate hall, our hotel room. I could hear Grace breathing beside me. Warren looked at the camera, then at the moderator, then down at his podium. 10 seconds passed. 15. 20. Warren started, stopped. I've made mistakes in my personal life. I'm not perfect. No one is. But I believe my record of public service speaks for itself. The policies I'm proposing for Virginia, healthcare expansion, education funding, environmental protections, these matter more than— Senator, the moderator interrupted. The question wasn't about your policies. It was about your character. You campaigned on family values. You featured your wife and children prominently in your advertising. Your communications director's daughter wrote an essay praising your integrity, an essay your campaign used in advertisements. Were you having an affair with her mother at the time? Warren's face went white. I had no control over what a volunteer chose to write. But you chose to use it. You chose to amplify a teenage girl's words about your integrity while carrying on an affair with her mother. Yes or no, Senator? Are you the father of Elizabeth Bradford's unborn child? I'm not going to discuss private medical matters on— It's not private when you made family values a centerpiece of your campaign. It's not private when you asked Virginia voters to trust your character. Are you the father? Silence. 30 seconds this time. Governor Richards spoke up. I think the silence answers the question. Warren turned to him. This is a private family matter that has been weaponized for political purposes. Thomas Bradford coordinated with your campaign to release this information now, 5 days before the election, for maximum political damage. Actually, the moderator said, we've confirmed that Mr. Bradford filed for divorce after learning about the affair. He didn't coordinate the timing with anyone, and opposition research footage was already scheduled for release. If anything, Senator, you're the one who created this situation, Grace whispered beside me. He can't answer, because there is no answer. On screen, Warren tried to pivot back to policy. The moderator wasn't having it. Senator, you've spent millions on ads featuring your family. You've given speeches about the importance of fidelity, commitment, putting family first, and now we learn you were having an affair with a married employee, getting her pregnant, pressuring her husband to stay quiet. Do you understand why voters might question your honesty? I understand that people will use anything to distract from substantive policy debates. This isn't a distraction, this is your character, and character matters in leadership. That's what you've been telling voters for 18 months. Warren looked directly at the camera. I made a mistake. I hurt people I care about. I'm human. And I'm asking Virginia voters to look at my record of public service, not my private failings. Governor Richards leaned into his microphone. Senator, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Over months. You chose to have an affair. You chose to get her pregnant. You chose to lie to her husband. You chose to use her daughter's essay in your campaign while destroying her daughter's family. Those weren't mistakes. Those were patterns of behavior. And they tell us exactly who you are. The debate continued for another hour, but that exchange was what everyone would remember. Warren's silence, his inability to defend himself, his attempt to call it a mistake when it was clearly calculated. By the time the debate ended, Grace was crying. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Yeah," she said, wiping her eyes. I defended him. I wrote 5 pages about his character, and he can't even answer a simple question honestly." Mom put her arm around Grace. "You defended what you thought you saw. That's not your fault. He's the one who lied. But I should have looked closer. I should have questioned more." "Grace," I said, "you're 14. You're not supposed to be a skeptic. You're supposed to believe in good leadership. You're supposed to trust that adults are telling you the truth. The failure here isn't yours. It's his, and your mother's. You were a kid believing what the adults in your life presented as true. My essay is never going to go away. Every time someone searches my name, that's what they'll find. The girl who defended the governor candidate who was sleeping with her mother." "No," I said, "they'll find the girl who learned a hard lesson about the difference between performance and character. The girl who wrote passionately about values, and then had the courage to admit she'd been deceived. That's not shameful, that's growth." Grace leaned against me. "I hate this. I know. But you did the right thing. Even though it hurt me, you did the right thing." Mom caught my eye over Grace's head, nodded. Saturday morning, the poll showed Warren down 9 points. Sunday, Diane filed for divorce. Monday, the Hartwell Family Trust pulled their funding from Warren's campaign. Tuesday, November 5th, 2025. Election Day. I took Grace to vote with me. She couldn't cast a ballot yet, but I wanted her there, wanted her to see democracy in action, wanted her to understand that all of this mattered. We stood in line at our polling place. I held the sample ballot Mom had given me weeks ago, white paper, Virginia seal, candidate names. Grace looked at it. "Are you voting for him?" "No." "Are you voting for Richards?" "Yes." "Because of what Warren did to you?" "No, because of what he revealed about himself. I can't vote for someone whose private character is that disconnected from their public promises. It doesn't work. You can't compartmentalize integrity. Either you have it or you don't. But his policies might be better. Maybe. But policies don't implement themselves. People implement them. And I don't trust his decision-making. I don't trust his judgment. I don't trust that he'll do the right thing when it's hard if he couldn't do the right thing in his own marriage." We reached the booth. I filled out my ballot. Grace watched. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Like the smallest and biggest thing I'll do all day." That evening, we watched the results at Mom's house. Grace, Mom, Catherine Morrison, who'd become a friend through this mess, and me. By 9 p.m., it was clear. Governor Richards had won. Not by a landslide, but by a clear margin, 3 percentage points. Decisive enough. Warren's concession speech was brief. Diane wasn't beside him. His kids weren't there. He thanked his supporters. Acknowledged the personal failings that had affected the race. Promised to spend time with his family, rebuilding trust. The camera caught him walking off stage alone. Grace turned off the TV. "He lost. Yes. Because of you. Because of his choices. I just refused to cover for them. 200 people lost their campaign jobs. Warren caused that when he had the affair, not me." Grace was quiet for a minute. Then, "Did you want him to lose?" "I wanted voters to make an informed choice. They did. If Warren had won despite knowing the truth, I could live with that. Democracy means accepting outcomes you don't prefer. But democracy can't work if voters don't know who they're electing. Catherine raised her glass. To truth-telling, even when it's costly. We toasted with Mom's sweet tea. My phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. Warren conceded. Staff is being let go tomorrow, but I don't regret helping you. Some things matter more than jobs. Thank you for having the courage I didn't. I showed it to Grace. She nodded slowly. Mrs. Kim is a good person, Grace said. Yes, she is. And Mom is dealing with consequences, but she'll land on her feet. She's smart, connected. Someone will hire her. Even after this? Politics has short memory, and your mom is legitimately talented at communications. Just not at personal integrity. Grace smiled slightly. First real smile in a week. Dad, that was shady. But true. Fair. Monday morning, I went back to work. The principal called me in before first period. I expected a reprimand, or worse. Instead, she said, the school board met over the weekend. There was discussion about whether your personal situation created a distraction that impacted your effectiveness as a teacher. My stomach dropped. I argued that you demonstrated exactly what we want teachers to model, making hard choices based on principle, accepting consequences, teaching students that integrity isn't theoretical, it's lived. She paused. You're not in trouble, Thomas, but there will be media attention. Students will have questions. Parents will have opinions. Can you handle that? I don't know, but I'll try. That's all any of us can do. Second period AP History. 28 students. Sarah Chen in the front row. All of them looking at me with new eyes. Not just a teacher anymore, but the guy from the news. I stood in front of the Constitution poster, the old one. 12 years of wear, corners curled. I'd been meaning to replace it. Today felt like the right day. Before we start today's lesson, I said, I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I filed for divorce. Yes, it became public. Yes, it affected the gubernatorial election. I'm not going to discuss details. Those are private. But I will say this. Every choice has consequences. Some of those consequences are painful. Some are necessary. And sometimes the right choice costs you more than you wanted to pay. But it's still right. Sarah raised her hand. Mr. Bradford, do you regret it? The timing, I mean. If you'd waited until after the election, then I would have taught my daughter that truth is negotiable. That integrity has a price, that we compromise our values for convenience. I couldn't do that. Not to her, not to myself, not to you. I gestured at the class. I teach you that democracy requires informed voters. That character matters in leadership, that we hold our elected officials accountable. If I didn't live those principles when it was hard, what credibility would I have teaching them when it's easy? Another student, Marcus in the back, spoke up. But 200 people lost their jobs, the campaign staff. Was your personal integrity worth their livelihoods? That's a fair question. Here's my answer. Warren created that situation when he had the affair, when he lied to voters, when he built a campaign on family values while destroying families. I didn't cause those job losses. I just refused to be complicit in covering them up. And those campaign staffers? They would have lost their jobs anyway when the opposition research released the hotel footage on November 1st. I didn't change the outcome. I just controlled the timing so my family wasn't ambushed. I could see students processing, nodding, thinking. Any other questions about this before we move on? Grace's friend Emily raised her hand. Is Grace okay? She's processing. It's hard, but she's strong, and she has people who love her helping her through it. Tell her we miss her. Tell her she doesn't have to be embarrassed about the essay. We all believe Senator Warren. She just wrote what we were all thinking. I smiled. I'll tell her. After class, I took down the old Constitution poster. Carefully. It had served well, but it was time for something new. I'd ordered a replacement over the weekend. Same design, but crisp, clean. Uncurled corners, the lamination smooth and new. I hung it in the exact same spot. Centered. Level. We the people. Grace came by after school. She'd come back today, first day since the filing. She looked exhausted, but determined. How was it? I asked. Weird. People either avoiding me or being super nice in that pitying way. But Emily's whole friend group sat with me at lunch. They're good people. Yes, they are. She noticed the new Constitution poster. walked over, touched the edge. You replaced it. Time for a fresh start. It looks good. On my desk, I'd put the old campaign button, the one Grace had thrown at the hotel wall. Bent pin, scratched surface. I was going to throw it away, but Grace had asked me to keep it. Reminder, she'd said, of what performance looks like when there's nothing underneath. Now she picked it up, turned it over in her hands. I'm going to use this, she said, for a new essay, for journalism class, about media literacy, about how to tell the difference between messaging and truth, between performance and character. That's a good topic. Mrs. Patterson said she'd help me submit it to some high school journalism competitions. Turn this whole mess into something useful. I hugged her. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you too, Dad. Even though you kind of destroyed my life for a few weeks there. Only kind of? Okay, fully destroyed. But it was the right thing to do. We stood there in my classroom. New Constitution poster on the wall, campaign button on the desk, afternoon light through the windows. Your grandfather, I said, lost his job in 1968 for teaching truth about integration. Your great-great-grandfather was blacklisted in the 1950s for refusing to sign a loyalty oath he thought was unconstitutional. There's a tradition in this family of paying prices for principles. Great. So I'm genetically doomed to make my life harder by doing the right thing? Probably. Awesome. But she was smiling. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from Elizabeth, handwritten, not typed, her actual handwriting on actual stationery. Thomas, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect understanding. But I need to say some things, even if you never respond. You were right, about all of it. About Warren using me, about the timeline always extending, about the manipulation. I convinced myself it was love, that it was worth the risks, that after the election, everything would be different. I was wrong. Warren's attorney contacted me last week. He's taking financial responsibility for the child. Child support, medical expenses, college fund. But he's not interested in co-parenting. He doesn't want to be involved beyond checks. Diane's family made that a condition of not suing him. He chose money over family, again. I destroyed our marriage for a man who won't even meet his own child. Grace won't speak to me. I don't blame her. I used her essay. I manipulated her trust in me. I lied to her face for months. She has every right to be angry. The baby is due in June. I'm placing her with an adoption agency. A couple in Charlottesville, a teacher and a nurse, married 15 years, can't have children of their own. Open adoption, so I'll get updates and photos. It's the right choice. This child deserves parents who chose her intentionally, not a mother who sees her as a consequence, and a father who sees her as a liability. You asked me once if I understood the irony of family values. I didn't. I do now. I hope Grace forgives me someday. I hope you find someone who deserves your integrity. I hope the students you teach never have to learn the way Grace learned that the adults they trust can be fundamentally dishonest. I'm sorry. For everything, Elizabeth. I read it twice, then put it in my desk drawer. I didn't respond, didn't know what to say. Some apologies are just information, not invitations for conversation. Grace came home from school that afternoon. She was living with me full-time now, visiting Elizabeth every other weekend, supervised. Mom texted me, Grace said, about the adoption. How do you feel about it? Sad, relieved, angry that it came to this. She paused. But I think it's the right choice. That baby deserves better than being raised by someone who sees her as a mistake. Your mom doesn't see her as a mistake. She sees herself as incapable of giving that child what she needs. There's a difference. You're very generous with her. I'm very clear-eyed about her. There's a difference there, too. Grace sat down at the kitchen table, pulled out her laptop. I finished the journalism essay. Want to read it? Always. She turned the screen toward me. The title, Performance vs. Character, What I Learned When My Hero Fell. I read the opening paragraph. At 14, I thought I understood leadership. I'd written a viral essay defending a politician I believed exemplified integrity. Then I learned that he was having an affair with my mother. My essay, shared by over 100,000 people, became a case study in the difference between performance and truth. This is what I learned about media literacy, political messaging, and why character matters, especially when it's costly to defend. I looked up at her. Grace, this is really good. Mrs. Patterson thinks I can place it, maybe even get it published somewhere. Turn the worst experience of my life into something useful. Your great-grandfather would be proud. The one who got blacklisted? That's the one. Good, I'm adding him to the essay. Section on family tradition of choosing truth over convenience. She kept typing. I made dinner, we ate together, talking about school, her friends, the journalism competition schedule. Normal, or something close to normal. A new kind of normal built on truth instead of performance. Later that night, I stood in my classroom after hours. Just me and the new Constitution poster. Clean, crisp. We the people. I taught my students that democracy dies in the dark. I just didn't know I'd have to prove I believed it by risking everything I loved. But I had, and we'd survived. Damaged, yes. Changed, absolutely. But fundamentally intact where it mattered. Grace had her integrity. I had mine. The campaign button was in the trash. The Constitution poster was new, and the truth, painful, costly, necessary truth, had walked into the light. It burned some things on the way, but what remained was real. Thomas and Grace redefined what family means, not who you're born to, but who shows up with integrity. If you've built your own chosen family based on honesty, tell me about them in the comments. And if this story moved you, I tell stories about choosing truth over convenience. I'll see you in the next one.